Hello and welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with a new episode from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is very interesting and this recipe is a household favorite. As everyone knows that nowadays Indus Cuisine is all about the food that is enjoyed in the homes of Pakistani kitchens, and these cuisines or these recipes, you could say, are very traditional and they go back to the grandmothers of our country. Why? Because these recipes have been passed on from generation to generation, and this is how even I know this recipe for today. It's a recipe which usually is cooked once a week in our homes, and apart from that I would like to let you know that Pakistani home cooking is not very simple. It's also considered to be lavish. Why? Because every day there's a new recipe or a new dish that is made in our house, and apart from that every recipe has fresh naan bread, pita bread or roti bread with some fresh boiled rice with cardamom. So this is how we eat. We basically feast. Okay, the ingredients for today's recipe are very easy, but we're making Murgh aloo. It's a very easy recipe. Murgh means chicken and aloo means potato. So it's a recipe which has a lot of gravy, and this recipe is usually enjoyed with either naan bread or rice. Why? Because the naan will soak up the gravy and the rice will give it a very nice texture. So what do you need? You need around 1 kilogram of chicken. You need some tomatoes, around 3 tomatoes, 3 potatoes which should be peeled, and then you need some coriander which needs to be super fresh. Apart from that, you will be requiring a cup of oil, some mint leaves, green chilies around 4 to 5. Now you might be thinking that this recipe is very easy. Yes, it is, and the ingredients are also very easily available. It's all about how you cook it and how you finish the whole texture in the end. You need some salt to taste. Ginger and garlic needs to be fresh. Apart from that, what you need is some coriander powder, some cumin powder and some star anise. This is all what you need for today's recipe. What I'll do first is I shall go pick up a frying pan and I'll keep it over here. Why? Because we'll make this recipe in 2 parts. So the frying pan's over here. I'll bring it and I shall just bring it to heat first. Once the pan comes to heat, what I'll do is I shall add some oil. Why? Because if the pan is wet after washing, if you add some oil, you will see that the oil will start splashing out, which can also hurt you or get you some light burns also. So apart from that, what I'll do first is I shall not be using onion in this recipe. Now you might be thinking every recipe in Pakistan has onion, but what does onion do? When onion is basically cooked, it gives a very slight sweet flavor. For this recipe, we won't be using any forms of onion, but we'll be using other things which shall be giving us a nice flavor and texture. So for what I'll do is the pan has come to heat. I shall just add a cup of oil first. So now what do you need to do? You need to pick up the potatoes. What I'll do is I shall cut them. For this recipe, what I need is I need to cut the potatoes at least 1 inch thick so that I get the best texture. After cutting these, I'll soak them again for at least a minute and then dry them off, and then I'll let you know what to do. But keep the potato slices equal, and this should be the reason why, because if it will be equal when I shall shallow fry them, it will give a very perfect and smooth texture, and the whole recipe will be fairly cooked. Slowly and gradually it will take you a long way. Remember that whenever you're cooking. And Pakistani cooking is all about discipline. It's all about when you add the other ingredient and how you add it to the pan. So now what I'll do is I shall just bring a bowl and I shall just rinse the potatoes, then I shall add it to the oil. What I'll do first is I shall add a cup of cold water and I shall add a pinch of salt. Now what will happen is when I'll mix this, the salted water will bring out the starch from the potatoes before I add it to the oil over here. So just add it over here and just mix it. Now as you can see, when I've added the salt, the water over here is getting cloudy. This is the added starch which I'm basically taking out, and once this is done, I shall just drain everything in the sink. Now slowly and gradually add the potatoes in the pan. You will see that it will start splashing, but you have to be very careful. So I'll transfer the potatoes. And you saw the fire coming out. Why? Because when you have a little bit of water which goes in the oil, it catches fire. It's all right. Now we shall just spread them out. Do not pile them up, and fry them for 2 minutes on high heat after giving it a lid. So I'll give it a lid. Until the time this is frying, what I'll do is we'll get ready with all the other ingredients. So now what do we need? We need a food processor. I'll keep it over here. And we shall pick up some ginger. We shall pick up around a tablespoon and a half equivalent of ginger. We shall finely slice it first. And then add it to the food processor. Now for this recipe, I need the ginger to be converted into a nice ginger water. Why? Because this will give a very smooth texture to the recipe. If you have a good food processor which has a high voltage efficiency, use it. If you do not have it, you should use a normal food processor which has a smaller lid so that everything is concentrated. So I'll add, you could say, a quarter cup of water. That's about it. Place it over here and process it until it converts into a super fine paste. Take the lid off, keep it on the side. Now as you can see, the ginger is done. I shall just pick it up and transfer it into this. Everything's clean over here. Whenever you see something moving around like digital or audio, or for example some graphics, we're basically cleaning up in between. So I'll keep this over here. It's super clean. We shall pick up around 5 pieces of garlic. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're basically preparing everything step by step, and what I'll do is I shall just chop them like this. Roughly chop them. And transfer all of this garlic into the jug over here. Now add around quarter cup of water and convert this also into super fine paste-like texture. Give it a lid and mix. As you can see, this is also done. What I'll do is I'll keep the remaining garlic out, and always keep an eye on the potatoes also. Transfer all of this into this, and you have the garlic water which is completely ready. The remaining will be kept over here. I shall just clean up and then I'll let you know what to do next. So as you can see, everything is done. We just made some ginger water and some garlic water. Apart from that, I just fried the potatoes and I took them out. They're partially cooked, they're not completely cooked, but they only have a nice brown texture on the outside. I'll go for a short break, and once I'm back, I'll let you know what to do next. Don't go anywhere, keep watching Indus Cuisine. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. During the break, I just waited for you, and as you can see, everything is ready over here. We just need to go forward with it. Now for the first thing, what I'll do is I shall pick up 3 pieces of green chili for now only, and I shall just take the stems out. Now what I shall do is I shall deep fry the green chilies before I add anything else. As I told you, this recipe is a little different, so what I'll do is I'll cut the green chili at least ½ an inch thick, and I shall go slowly and gradually. And this is done. I shall just pick it up, transfer it over here. And let it fry. Once it will fry properly, what will happen is you'll get the perfect texture for the recipe and the perfect flavor. Why? Because when you fry the green chili, what usually happens is that the spice level reduces. Why? Because a lot of it will evaporate in the form of moisture. So let it get brown towards the lighter brown side. Now what I'll do is, as I kept a little bit of ginger water over here, this will not go to waste. I shall just keep it on the side. What I'll do now is I shall pick up the tomatoes. We'll take 3 tomatoes around the medium size, and we shall just take out the eye of the tomato. Keep it over here. And then we shall convert this into a super fine paste. Now the reason behind this is because if you convert it into a super fine paste, then only you'll get the best texture possible. So I'll keep this over here. We shall just cut the tomatoes in half like this in front of you, and then we shall just place them in the food processor over here. I'll bring the processor over here. Now I've cleaned the jug completely. Why? Because we do not need the ginger and garlic flavor or the paste flavor. We'll keep it over here and convert this into a super fine paste after adding a little bit of water, but towards the second step. It's well blended. What I'll do now is I shall add a cup of water and I shall add a pinch of salt. Now what I'll do is I'll add half of the cumin seeds into this and keep the half for later on. I'll put this over here, process it until it converts the seeds also into a nice broken texture. As you can see, this is done. Now it's time to make the gravy. So when you need the gravy to be cooked, what I'll do is I shall keep this on the side and bring a wok. Remember, whenever you have a wok, it's deeper, there's less evaporation. A flatter base will create more evaporation. So let's just bring the wok over here and place it to heat. So I'll just keep this over here for a second, keep this here and transfer all the oil and the green chilies into this. Try sourcing all of the oil out, which I have, and now keep the lid over here. Now increase the heat to full, and as you can see, the oil has come to heat. What I'll do next is I shall just place the tomato into this. Now you can see the gravy is basically coming to life. This is how this will be cooked. This recipe will be cooked with the chicken going into this and cooking properly. So now what I'll do is, because the chicken is cut into small pieces for this recipe, I shall just transfer all the chicken over here and bring all of this to boil. You don't need this anymore, keep it on the side, and now add half a teaspoon of salt. The salt goes in. Now start mixing it properly with a ladle to get the best texture possible. Now start coating it. And now spread it out. Now once this comes to boil, we shall let it boil for at least 3 minutes on high heat with the lid on. So I'll place the lid over here and the other lid comes over here, and I'll let the pan rest on the side. Now as you can see, everything is almost done. Now what do we need? We need to add a few things in the recipe. First, what we'll do is we'll wait for this to come to boil. Till then, what I'll do is I shall just pick up the mint leaves and I shall just take the front stems and I shall just pull them. Slightly pull them, and if you see anything that is left behind, like the thicker stems, throw it. Why? Because this will not basically completely get soft. So I'll bring all of this together and we shall finely chop it. We shall chop it with the knife. Why? Because this is the texture we shall be requiring for this recipe. Slowly and gradually will take you a super long way. Bring it close together. Once this is completely chopped, clean the blade, take the lid off, keep it over here. And now transfer all the mint into the pan. Now this will give a very nice earthy flavor. We're keeping it very simple for now. And slowly and gradually you will add all the other ingredients. Now what I'll do is I shall add the ginger and garlic water. When this is done, you don't need any more, keep it at the back. Now what I'll do is I'll add the remaining cumin seeds with some coriander powder, which I'll spread out. Now you can see there's only green chili being used over here. I shall not be using any red chili for this recipe because I want the nice herby texture of the chili that comes, because red chili gets super hard and harsh and it tries overpowering all the other flavors. So now till the time this basically cooks for 5 minutes, we'll just clean up and then I'll let you know what to do next. Don't go anywhere, keep watching Indus Cuisine. So as you can see, the boil has come. What I'll do now is I shall transfer all the potatoes over here, place this over here, and pick up 2 to 3 partial pieces of star anise and spread them out. This will give the recipe a very nice flavor and texture. Now we have to cook this for at least 10 minutes once you've added the potatoes in, by keeping a lid on top and letting it cook on low heat. So till I'm just cooking, we'll just clean up and then I'll show you the final look of the recipe. Don't go anywhere, keep watching Indus Cuisine. As you can see, today's recipe is ready. It was super easy, super quick and amazingly delicious. I'll see you in another episode of Indus Cuisine. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.